I'd like to start with a story which I believe is a traditional story from some tribe, perhaps, in Africa. I read it in a children's book that said it was a traditional African story. Maybe it was. In any case, it's a good story. I don't know how traditional this is, but I liked it. It's a story about a person, a frog, and a mosquito. How many of you have heard this story? Oh, no one's heard this story? Oh, yes, you know this story. Oh, very good. Is it traditionally African? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, good. Well, there we are. Well, there was a mosquito buzzing about one evening. She buzzing here and there, trying to find a person to eat. And as she went around, she kept on trying to avoid the dangerous, evil, horrifying, selfish, bad frogs. The terrible frogs. And she prayed. She prayed to Mother Earth. She prayed, please eliminate these terrible, evil frogs that try to kill us. They're selfish. They're bad. And the world would be better off without them. We'd all be safer if there were just no frogs. So please destroy them. Eliminate them. Get rid of them forever. Well, nearby, there was a frog. And he was looking around for some mosquitoes to eat. And while he was doing that, he was trying to avoid the people who were walking along the shore of the pond. And so he prayed to Mother Earth. Please, Mother Earth. I'm just trying to search for some mosquitoes. But all these people wander around. They're evil. They're bad. They're horrible. Please destroy them. Get rid of them. Eliminate them forever. Because the world would be a better place without such bad people in it. Well, right nearby, there was a person. A woman walking along the shore, trying to find some frogs to eat, to feed to her children for dinner. But there were so many mosquitoes. So many mosquitoes buzzing around. And so she prayed to Mother Earth. I'm just trying to gather some frogs. Please, Mother Earth, destroy these horrible mosquitoes. Get rid of them. They're bad, evil, horrible. Eliminate them forever. And then the world will be a better place. So, my favorite part of the story is that Mother Earth heard them all praying. And she did nothing. Isn't that nice? She's really smart. Really, really smart, very wise. She did absolutely nothing. Today we're talking about one of the themes of Peace Pilgrim's teachings, and that is the importance of problems, the value, the significance, the beauty of problems. She said it took her a long time to mature to the point of seeing that a life without problems would be barren, would be without essential forms of personal growth. She stopped at a certain point in her life hoping that the people that she knew, hoping that her friends would stop having problems. She didn't hope that for them anymore. Where people would come and say, I have a problem. And her first reaction would not be, oh, I hope that soon enough you don't have that problem. Her first reaction was, oh, great. How wonderful. What a magnificent opportunity for growth. You have this problem because it's an opportunity to grow. And you're so lucky to have this opportunity. You're so fortunate. This relates to our lives in many ways. And one of those ways, a place where I'll begin and I'll end, at least I plan to end here in about 15 minutes. The place to begin is talking about the mindfulness practice itself. So we sit down and we have the intention to concentrate. I'm going to concentrate now. And in most cases, most of us, most of the time, immediately get distracted. Immediately means within a few seconds. And if we don't get grossly distracted, then we just get subtly distracted. So gross distraction would be when I concentrate on my breath, and then suddenly we're thinking about what happened yesterday and what should happen tomorrow, and whether we did the right thing yesterday and how we'll resolve that tomorrow, and what we like and what we don't like, and the situations, the people, the circumstances around us. We are suddenly thinking about that. That's one way that we could become distracted. There are many ways we could become distracted, but that's one way. That's a gross distraction. That's a kind of gross distraction. Meaning a distraction that has nothing to do with the practice that we're doing at this time. So that gross distraction happens. And so we notice that and try to concentrate again, and then surprisingly quickly find that we are thinking about something again. And then we go to whatever meditation teacher we might have, which is maybe me or maybe someone else, or maybe we go to ourselves, because most of the time, most of us are our own meditation teacher. Even people who live in monasteries, still the main person you go to for advice on your practice is yourself. Almost every time you're trying to figure out what to do, you ask yourself. It's rare to be able to ask someone else, either a colleague in the path or a senior, a teacher. Most of the time it's ourselves. So ourselves or others, we go to them and say, what's going on here? This is a big problem. And there are a lot of different possible reactions to that. But I'll just mention a couple. So one, which is quite common, is to say there's something wrong with this technique, there's something wrong with mindfulness, there's something wrong with me. It turns out that I'm not the kind of person who can do this. It's not working. I'm no good. And this practice has become a new piece of evidence that I'm no good. This is one reaction. Not everyone has this reaction, of course, but some of us have this reaction. It's one way that we can respond to having the problem of getting distracted, of that sense of gross distraction. It's just one way. But there are more skillful ways to consider that. And one of the more skillful ways is to consider, wow, this is a real opportunity. Something is obstructing me. Something's obstructing my concentration. And the fact is, I don't even know what it is. Because if I did, I'd do something about it, but I'm trying to do something about it. I can't do anything about it. This is amazing. I get to discover something completely new that I've never noticed before. And then accomplish a skill that I've never accomplished before. What a great opportunity. This is fun. This is probably what the practice is all about. Boy, this is really working. So these are two different approaches to the same circumstance, the same internal circumstance of getting distracted. In the one case, we see the arising of a problem as evidence that there's something wrong with us, something wrong with the situation, something wrong with the technique, and have at the end of that less energy and less confidence. In the other case, same thing happened, but because of our different reaction, we see it as an opportunity, it's exciting, and we end up with more energy and more confidence. And this is one of the things, those of you who work with me quite a bit know, that this is one of the things that I really push people on. If I'm able to work with someone in a deep way, then this is one of the things that I'll push. It's one of the points that I'll try to make very clearly. When I point out to you that there's a problem, you didn't do something very well, you don't understand something correctly, whatever it is, there's some problem. At that moment, is the first reaction increased energy and confidence? Because I don't see why it wouldn't be. Yes? Why would it be that when someone points out that we're wrong, we would have less energy and confidence? That's irrational, actually. There's nothing logical about that at all. Because now we're wise. We just learned something. And it's an opportunity to grow. So there's every reason to have more confidence because we now know something that we didn't know just a few seconds ago. And it's an opportunity for growth. So that's exciting. So suddenly we're more confident and more energetic. It's very strange to me that sometimes someone will say to someone, you're wrong. You got that wrong. You're incompetent. You don't know how to do that. And they'll feel bad about themselves and shut down. Some people here might have that reaction. Even just now while I was enacting it, not even talking to you, just saying those words, just hearing that in the air, you may have had that reaction, perhaps even a physical response. But there's no logical reason for that. If somebody tells us we're wrong, then that's a reason to feel great and excited. This is the logical reaction. Of course, sometimes we don't have the logical reaction, but that is the logical reaction. And as we're doing mindfulness, if we find that we are, for example, distracted, and we notice that's a problem, then at that moment, we wouldn't wish that we wouldn't have that problem. That's Peace Pilgrim's point. That first reaction, your first reaction to noticing you're distracted, at that moment, is it exciting? Ah, here it is. This is an opportunity for growth. Yes? Is it exciting? Just to give you another example on this, we can talk about subtle distraction. So subtle distraction means that you're distracted by something that's relevant to the practice. So you're going to attend to your breath, and you end up thinking about how I'm doing a pretty good job attending to my breath right now. Right? So it's hard to know, it's hard to notice at that moment that you're distracted. It doesn't always seem that we're distracted at that moment. And in fact, I know some people have told me years into training, years, and I know it's certainly my experience, years and years of meditation, and then there's a moment when the person can say, you know, I can finally tell the difference between the direct experience of breathing and thinking about breathing. It took me this long, but it's pretty good. There's a lot of wisdom just in that simple clarity. So there's a subtle distraction. We're distracted by something that's relevant to the practice. Pay attention to our breathing, just as an example. Of course, there are many things we can focus on. But we end up then attending to something relevant to, but different from, focus on our breathing. In that case, again, we get to the point eventually when we realize, wait a second, I have a problem. I'm attending to thoughts about the practice rather than doing the practice. And at that moment, if those of us who have come to that point, which I suppose is most everyone here, at that moment, is that exciting? Do we suddenly feel excited? Or do we suddenly feel distraught, depressed? This is a very important question. Because if we were rational, which we're not always, I know, I'm not, but if we were, then our reaction to that would be one of excitement. Because good news, this practice is about to get a whole lot better. If I hadn't noticed this problem, then I wouldn't be able to solve it. And if I didn't solve it, then this, what I'm experiencing right now, would continue to be the best possibility for me in this practice. I did a lot of training with someone who's much more strict than I am and much more willing to, in stern ways, point out one's flaws, one's failings. And especially when it becomes increasingly that way the more deep one's practice is. Or the deeper your practice is, then the more harsh he becomes. And it was interesting in my own mind, in my own life, to notice at the beginning I'd be practicing and I'd focus or something. I'd finally be able to focus a little bit and go in and demonstrate my concentration. And he'd just say, that's not concentration, that's nothing. Get out of here. And I'd become kind of sad. Like, oh no, I'm no good at this. Decreased confidence, decreased energy. Then I had to recover from that for a while. And most of the time I was recovering, I'd be sitting like this. And most of the time I was sitting like this, I'd be thinking about how he's dumb. He's wrong. I do concentrate. Okay? And plus he's just not very good at teaching because I feel this way. And it's his fault that I feel bad. And he should change. And if he would change, I'd feel better. And then time would pass, and I'd gradually kind of recover, and then have another significant experience, and be excited, and reveal that. And then he'd say, that's nothing. It's just, that's the dregs of this practice. Yes, this is That's disgusting. Get out of here. And it took a long time for me to be able to get to have that kind of experience, to experience a new kind of concentration, feel the joy, the energy, the wonder, the bliss, the freedom, the relief that comes from that. Go in and have him say, this is nothing, and realize, really? This is nothing? It gets better than this? Well, that's great. That's fantastic. That's the best news I've heard all day. Because it would be so sad if this were the final limit. If this were all that there is, then frankly, I don't know if it was a good idea for me to give the past 6 years of my life to this training. Because I don't know if this is good enough to justify that kind of sacrifice. But good news. Apparently, this is trash compared to whatever this could be. Well, now that's fantastic. And to watch myself go from having a problem set before me, noticing that there's an obstacle, that there's further to go, that there's further growth possible, and be disconsolate, be stuck, sad, to having that the same thing happen, but feel myself, and not just think it, but feel my body rise up with a fire, with a love, an excitement to discover what could this new world possibly be that's even better than this. So problems can be, in this practice, the moment we notice one is the moment we get excited and confident and joyous. But it isn't only in the practice. In our lives, this can also be true. As we try to deal with problems, those problems come up. And at first, we may I wish that there just were no problems. I wish that we just didn't have any problems, and everything would just be the way I want it to be. I don't know why no one else laughed. That was actually the funniest thing I said today. That's okay, don't worry. It'll be funny someday, don't worry. It's hilarious that we would do that. But I understand actually why some of you aren't laughing, because it's also depressing that we would do that. Because here we are now in a world where we gave up on Mother Earth. She obviously doesn't know what she's doing. We'll take care of these mosquitoes, won't we? Yes, we're now actually capable of making mosquitoes go extinct, and that may happen. We have now achieved that through science and biotechnology. Will we do that? I don't know, but we might. We tend to make species go extinct, especially when we don't like them, and even when we do like them. That's something that we do. We don't see how important it is for things to not be the way we want them to be. Most of us human beings don't see the value in things being a way that we don't want them to be. We try to make everything be the way we want it to be, and we end up in a world that is barren. Barren of life, and most importantly, barren of love. Barren of appreciation for anything other than what we want. And love isn't just getting what we want. Of course, we say, I love some kind of food or something. I love this phone or something. But that isn't the kind of love that I'm talking about. We've lost the love that is unconditional. We have love for things that we like. But I don't know if that's anything other than like. I don't know if it's really love. When I say love, I mean a love that means that we love mosquitoes. That we love it when there's a mosquito biting us. Because it's our chance. This is our huge chance to be happy at this moment. And I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to be happy when there's the tiniest bit of pain that I can have while still calling it pain. It's tiny, actually. And even now, I can't be happy. Even now, with this littlest bit of pain, I can't love this perfectly reasonable young woman who's on my hand trying to feed her kids. Not exactly feed, but close enough. So it's really, it's a clear limitation to our love. And we, at that moment, get to see if we can transcend it. What an amazing opportunity. Thank you, Mother Earth. That was really smart for giving me this chance. Especially for us here, where there's no malaria and it isn't actually dangerous to get bitten by a mosquito. That's amazing. We're very, very fortunate. Some places, of course, you don't want to get bitten by the mosquito, but here you can just get bitten by mosquitoes as much as you can. And test ourselves. We get to do that. And then it's the same thing with situations, people, circumstances that we perceive as problems. We get to grow under those circumstances in one of two ways. And whatever we do, we get to grow in one of these two ways. It doesn't mean that we will grow in one of these two ways, because you have to try to grow in one of these two ways. Of course, you might not. You might grow in neither of these two ways. This happens to us all the time. But whatever we do, we have the opportunity to grow in one of these two ways. Either we do what I was describing with the mosquito. We have equanimity with that mosquito biting us. We have equanimity with this person criticizing us. We have equanimity with the situation obstructing our dreams. We have equanimity with that. And in that way, we take one step closer to awakening, to enlightenment. And it's true. We literally do that. And when we take that step, if we take it truly with true equanimity, then we can feel the knots needed out of our consciousness, our bodies, our minds. We can feel that happening, and we know with certainty that from this moment forward, I will always be a bit happier than I would have been if I didn't drop into that experience with equanimity. We know that. We can feel it happen. We know that that tension, that fight, that conflict within me has been resolved. And I never have to fight that fight again. And I won't, because I'm happier now. The whole world is a little bit more beautiful. We get to have that experience every time. Or we get another possibility, another way of growing. And that other way of growing is that we see, this is a problem in the world. This problem exists in the world. I have the opportunity to do something about it. And we have enough equanimity, meaning non-resistance to our experience, to accept our role in the change in the world that's needed in order to create a more just and peaceful world. We accept that this is the work for me to do, and now's the time for me to do it. That there's a problem that has to be resolved, and until that problem is resolved, then this situation will just keep on going. The achievement in the world isn't to get that situation to go away. The achievement is to solve the problem that created that situation. Because that situation will just come and go. Everything comes and goes. But if we can actually resolve that problem, then we know we've gained a skill. We now know how to live in a new way. And because that skill has been achieved, that new life can continue and even grow into the future. And so we get the chance to take action according to our conscience, because we have enough equanimity to accept our place, to accept our role, accept our duty, accept our responsibility in healing the world of injustice and suffering. So if we take no action and we just let the mosquito bite us, that's magnificent. We're taking one step closer to awakening. and we're happier for the rest of the path on the way there. If we take action, we see that there's injustice happening and we get involved and maybe even put ourselves at risk in order to make a difference. Focusing on the problem that we see and taking on the responsibility of making a difference, then in that case, that's magnificent. We gain in self-confidence, we gain in energy, and we take one step closer to the vast ocean of love, of compassion that's needed in order to fulfill the path of awakening and then manifest it in an actual human life. Either way, we win. Either way, it's joyful. These are two enormous possibilities, and Peace Pilgrim gives us a great gift in pointing out the fact that without problems, we don't have the opportunity to experience either of these beautiful opportunities. So, let's move into the practice and attempt to approach it with the attitude of appreciating problems as blessings and bring that to life. So I think it's probably cold enough that we should close these now. Does everyone know why they're open? Let the mosquitoes in, yes. Do you all know why the windows are open? To clear the air of fragrances. That's exactly right. So, the fewer synthetic fragrances there are, the better this will go. So be aware of that. That can be each of our responsibilities when we come here to try to have fewer, thank you very much, fewer and fewer synthetic fragrances. So if you notice in your laundry detergent that you have fragrances, at least once that runs out, buy one that doesn't have any fragrances. If you notice that you're using dryer sheets that have fragrances, then at least when they run out, don't buy any new ones. If you notice that your shaving cream has fragrances or your deodorant or anything, then there are plenty without synthetic fragrances. Yeah. 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 Things. But even so, it's easier for the group, because as people do the practice, it's common to get quite sensitive to fragrance, and so it's easier if we don't have those either. Yeah, yeah. All right, very good. Take a moment to straighten your back, sit up tall. Lift your head high. If possible, sit at the front of the chair so that you're not leaning back. Of course, each of us should do whatever is needed for our bodies Each of us has a different body. So, of course, each of us will be in a different physical posture. We shouldn't take the instructions on posture to be something that forces our bodies into an uncomfortable position or an unhealthy position. So pay attention to your body and know that for the purposes of alertness, it's very useful to straighten your back and then relax. Settle into that posture. Let your body hang from your upright spine. And feel the pleasant pull of gravity, helping to release any tension in your muscles. And attend to the feeling of sitting in an alert, relaxed posture. If you find some tension in your body, then shift your posture a little bit in order to sit in a way that allows you to relax a bit more. That may mean leaning forward a bit more or leaning back a bit more. Leaning to one side or the other. If you are already leaning one way or the other, then correct that for side-to-side movement. Go forward, backward, side to side, and also up and down as you straighten up and settle in. Using all three dimensions in order to find the best posture for our bodies. Now bring your attention specifically and exclusively to the sense of relaxation in your body. Pay attention to that relaxation. And if your attention wanders, then bring your attention back to the feeling of relaxation. Notice that as you sit in this posture, there's always some relaxation in your body. Your body isn't completely tight. There's at least relaxation in the breathing process. Sometimes we get accustomed to the relaxation that's in our bodies. If you find that you're not finding any relaxation in your body, despite the fact that it is objectively speaking present, then tighten up your body a little bit. Tighten your muscles, your legs, your arms, your stomach, your back, your chest, your shoulders, your neck, your head, your face. Tighten up a little bit and then relax that. And there it is. You're just as relaxed as you just were, but now it's easier to notice that. So know that there is relaxation present, and if you're not finding it, then that's okay. You can tighten up a little bit, and then release that tension, returning to the same relaxation that you just were experiencing, but now you can notice it. It's less subtle. It's more apparent. So begin by noticing that there is always a certain amount of relaxation present in your body. And in order to encourage the alertness and relaxation, always feel free to adjust your posture, straighten up and settle in again. And returning to the experience of relaxation. If you become distracted in any way, perhaps hearing sounds in the environment and getting caught up in that, perhaps thinking about memories, plans, fantasies, perhaps attending to some other physical sensations, itches or aches, pressures or pains, emotions. If you become distracted in any way, and that's the moment of opportunity. Moment of opportunity to bring your attention back. The bigger the challenge, the bigger the problem, that is a bigger opportunity, a deeper transcendence. Practice bringing your attention back while seeing each distraction as an opportunity. Each distraction an opportunity to cultivate concentration. Naturally, if there are no distractions, that's an opportunity to cultivate concentration as well, by becoming accustomed to having clear concentration. So every problem becomes an opportunity. If there's distraction and that seems to be a problem, it becomes the opportunity to cultivate the skill of concentration. But then we might think, wait, there are no distractions. Isn't that a problem if we have no distractions? But no, that also is an opportunity to settle in and become used to, accustomed to, acclimated to steady concentration. And now, as you do this practice, as you bring your attention to relaxation and attend to it, consider the pleasant aspect of the practice, the pleasant side of feeling relaxation. Notice if this feels pleasant to you. It may feel pleasant. It may feel relieving to settle into relaxation for a period of time. Or it may not. It may feel like a struggle. Sometimes meditation feels like a struggle. Difficult memories may be arising. A sense of antsiness, discomfort may be present in your body. There may be a sense, I can't do this very well. So there may be negative emotions. Either way, whether this is pleasant, relieving, enjoyable, or unpleasant, difficult, confusing, uncomfortable. Either way, these are opportunities. If it's unpleasant, that's a challenge. Can we, even at a moment of discomfort, find relaxation? As we go through our lives, those moments may be the most important times to find relaxation. So it's an opportunity. There's no need to be concerned if you're enjoying this. That's not a problem. That's also an opportunity. An opportunity to fill ourselves, to surrender to this kind of pleasure so fully that our desire for unhealthy forms of sensual pleasure can be released, can be lost in favor of this kind of pleasure. Either way, it's an opportunity. Whether this is enjoyable or not. This is an opportunity. So once again, practice that attitude. As pleasure, comfort, enjoyment arises, that's an opportunity. As discomfort, frustration, perhaps even tightness arises, that's an opportunity. As you continue to attend to relaxation in your body, as you continue to work with that focus space, something which you can do as you're sitting, as you're moving, if you'd like. You can shift your posture as you're standing up. If you'd like to, you should feel free to stand up, but continue to attend to the technique. As you're walking, if you'd like to, feel free to walk in this room. You can continue to do this technique while you're walking, while you're lying down. If you'd prefer to lie down and in that way straighten your back, please feel free. We can do this technique in all postures, all positions, as long as we're attending to the alignment of our bodies. And as you continue with this, attending to relaxation, you may find sometimes, I can't do it. I can't attend to my breath. I'm distracted, sleepy. I'm falling asleep. For whatever reason, I can't do it. Oh, very good. This is an opportunity. Wonderful opportunity to learn how to move through this challenge. This challenge is here in order to give us a problem that we can solve. And in solving it, grow. Sometimes we discover the sense, I can't do it. Very good, that's an opportunity. It's a chance to learn. A wonderful chance to discover a new path forward, around, above, beneath, or through this challenge. We may even come to the point of thinking, it's wonderful to discover I can't do it. If I were to discover that I could do it, that wouldn't be an opportunity for growth. There'd be nothing to learn there. But here, because I can't do it, there's something to learn. While there's wisdom here, there's also an opportunity when we can do it. When we can do this technique. By doing the technique, we become accustomed to experiencing relaxation, and we can examine that relaxation more and more closely, and right there's something new to be discovered. It arises naturally, simply because we're accustomed to, we're used to deeply experiencing relaxation. What relaxation is, grows and changes, evolves, deepens. And we experience it in a new way. So even if we can do the technique, it's still possible to use this as an opportunity. Much less if we can't. If we can't do it, then there's a great opportunity. Either way, we maintain the attitude of growth, confidence, energy, and enjoyment. And as we come near the end of this meditation session, the last several minutes, if you'd like, change the technique slightly. Change the technique to memory, plan, and fantasy. Change the technique to paying attention to what you think about your life. Consider a situation that you're not satisfied with. A situation in your life that isn't fulfilling to you, that seems problematic. And consider for several minutes, in this situation, which opportunity would you like to take advantage of? On the one hand, doing nothing about this. Being passive in your behavior. And using that as an opportunity to deepen your equanimity. To let the situation purify you of stuck places, attachments to certain views, assumptions, opinions, preferences. Allow yourself to be vulnerable to this. Surrender to it and let it cleanse you of stuck places in your body and mind, bringing you one step closer to awakening. That's an opportunity. It's a wonderful opportunity. It's achieved by doing nothing, fully receiving this situation just as it is, being passive in our behavior. Or would you like to take advantage of the other opportunity? The opportunity to have such equanimity that we accept our place in serving the world. With whatever consequences may come with that, we know this is my chance to change the situation so that it's better for myself or others or both. I accept my responsibility to do something, to make a difference. Receiving whatever consequences may come. This is my opportunity to express love through service, by being active in my behavior. And in this way, I'd like to deepen equanimity and take one step closer to awakening. Which of these two opportunities would you like to take advantage of in this situation? Take some time to consider that. Take some time to decide and commit to one or the other of these opportunities. All right, I'm on the board of a wonderful organization called Vermont Interfaith Power and Light. Just out of curiosity, who has heard of that organization? Okay. So I bet some of you have heard about it from me, though. So. Oh well, not as good, but not bad. So every year we have a conference. We hold a conference on spirituality and climate change, and in particular, the way we talk about spirituality is in terms of religious traditions, trying to get established religious traditions involved in making a difference to global warming, which I think is a wonderful project because again and again in human history, we find that established religions are an essential component of significant social change, arguably a crucial, an essential, a necessary component, because those are the traditions that have the ability to determine public opinion of morality. And when something is clearly determined as a moral issue, then that we see again and again can win out over economic and political and other interests. And so I would claim that global warming is a moral issue. It's an issue of ethics. It's an issue of right and wrong. For us to allow global warming to happen and to eliminate countless species and at least millions of human lives, but probably many more, that is simply wrong. It's unethical. It's immoral. And so we need to do something about it. And the point of this conference is to explore that issue and to help us all to do a better job of taking action in our communities. And the conference is in White River Junction all day, more or less the entire day, on the 15th and the 16th. I'll be leading the opening ceremony on the 15th of October at 9 o'clock, I believe. Am I getting this information wrong? All sounds right.
And the schedule is on the back of the flyers.
Great.
You can see hour by hour what's going to be happening.
So the flyer is out on the table in the entranceway. Saturday and Sunday. 15th and 16th, Saturday and Sunday.
Yes, yes.
Very good. Wonderful to see all of you. Great opportunity for us to be together.